Hello everybody, Uniquely Lady Charlotte. A very tired Uniquely Lady Charlotte. Yep, I'm in the bed. It's about 6:30 and I have a few more things to do before work tomorrow. But I'm going to tell you, I am pooped. Heidi, Scotty, and I and Warren went out and we were in search of people along the highways and byways or outside of the margin to give our gift bags to. Warren had gift bags and shoes for men, and he had coats, a couple of coats, came from his house and Anthony's house, and I had stuff for the ladies. Well, I met up with a friend girl of mine, Tiffany Bennett. We went to beauty school together years ago, and we're still good friends to this day. And she does couponing, and she owns a beauty salon, and she does taxes. And she was like, she hit me up, and she was like, "Hey, I got some stuff from couponing that you can put in your gift bags." My bed is a mess, but I'm gonna show you. So I've got. Let me shut this. So I've got this big bag of stuff I've got to go through that she gave me, and it's chock full of stuff like pads. I mean panty liners, lip balms. She's got lip balms. She's got lots of tubes of toothpaste. I think this, yeah, Crest toothpaste. She got lots of those. And she's got lots of makeup by Revlon. Lots of good makeup. Because again, I remember I told you, a woman is still a woman, even if she's homeless. What woman doesn't want to look pretty or lift her spirits? So there's just so much of it. So much of it. 3D white toothpaste. She's got toothbrushes in here. She's got, again, different types of lip balm. So, and she gave me two bags. So I got that bag and this bag. And so I have to get more gift bags or use grocery bags and get this stuff passed out. So now I'm going to kind of catalog this stuff to see what she's got, see what I need to get, and set up another date to do it again. I did receive a couple of more donations. Thank you guys. I thanked you on my Facebook page. Thank you to everyone that donated. $5, $10, and $20. Thank you so much. And believe me, I'm gonna spend that money exactly where I said I'm gonna spend it. And I'll even show you what I got with your money. Homelessness is all over the world, but and you have it in your area. But thank you so much just to give. I appreciate that. They appreciated that. So let me tell you what I learned today. Well, not what I learned, what I found out today, or what we did. So I remember when we first got to Charlotte, coming down Graham Street, and I looked over at the women's shelter where there was a bus stop. I knew what the women's shelter was because when I was a hairstylist so many years ago, licensed hairstylist, um, I used to go over to the homeless shelter and do hair on Saturdays and Sundays. Well, Sundays really, because I was busy at work on Saturdays. So Sundays, and I would give free relaxers, free press and curl, do the little girls' hair, whatever. The ladies' hair too, because you can't go look for a job if your hair's nappy. Your hair not, you look unkept. So I would go do hair on Sundays. Well, I saw this lady sitting over at the bus stop, and she was down on the ground. She wasn't sitting on the bench. She was on the ground, and she had a walker, but she was covered up. I just assumed it was a lady by looking at the walker and looking at the colors of the stuff she had around her. She would just squat down and had a blanket over top of her. I hate that she had that blanket over top of her because later on, after a couple of hours, I told Warren and Scotty, hey, I want to go over to the women's shelter since I have bags for women because I didn't see any hardly where I was, where we were. So I said, I know I need to go over to the women's shelter because they put them out of the building at a certain time and they can't come back till a certain time. So we went over there and she was still there. So I said, come on, Warren, let's walk over here and find out what she needs. So we started walking over to her and down the hill, through the grass, down the hill, and the city bus was coming, the city bus was stopping, and the lady, she stood up and she took her blanket off and she had a book bag, another smaller bag, her walker, and kind of found out she was using a walker because her foot was bandaged and she couldn't stand on it. She couldn't put any weight on her foot. And she was just a mess. She really was. And hair unkept. She was just a mess. She tried her best to get on the bus. So Warren and I stopped. I said, wait a minute, Warren. So we stopped. He said, she getting on the bus, so we might as well go back to the car. I said, no, wait a minute. Wait a minute. So we stood there and I watched, and she was trying to get her things together. And I drove a bus, or I drive a bus sometimes. And so I'm like, okay, she's going to need some help. I said, Warren, hold this stuff. And let me help her get on the bus. So I walked over and I gathered up her things. And she was like, ma'am, you going to help me? And I said, yeah, I'm going to help you. And she's like, okay. She was like, well, can you get that? And she said, well, you guys got a blanket I can have? We didn't have a blanket. And I found out why she asked. Her blanket, remember I told you that blanket she had over her? It was soaking wet because it rained hard here. I mean, soaking wet, and it was cold. It did a freezing rain here, and that's all she had to put over her. Oh, it just made me just so sick to my stomach. So I got on the bus. She's like, can you look in my bag and get $1 out? Because they're still charging fares. We don't, but they're still charging fares in Charlotte. So I looked in her bag and I couldn't find the dollar. And Warren was like, I'll pay the dollar. So Warren put the dollar in the fare box for her, and I gathered up. I said, I just told her, just get on the bus. I'll get your things. And so we were getting on the bus. Now I apologized to the bus driver. I said, I apologize, but just give us just a moment, ma'am, to get us settled. It wasn't anybody on the bus. She said, no, 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 take your time. So I introduced myself, told her what I do, who I am, and she was very, very nice. It was the bus that comes up Statesville Avenue, all the way past the women's shelter. I don't even know what time. Oh, it's about close to 3 o'clock. And got the lady on the bus, and I said, ma'am, could you give us one more minute? And she was like, yeah. I said, I told the lady, I said, I want to take your blanket, and my friend and I were going to wring it out for you. She's like, really? So we took up, because it was that wet. It was sopping wet. So we took out the bus, and, old school, he got on one side, I got another, we just twist the opposite direction till we got as much water out of it as we could. It was one of those fleece blankets, and it was soaking wet and so heavy. So we wring it out best we could, and I laid it across her walker when I got back on the bus, and she was like, well, here's my other bag. It's wet. You can just throw all this stuff away. You can just throw it all away. And I opened the bag and looked in it. And I said, no, you need all of these things. These are your masks. These are your ink pens. This is you got some medications in here. I said, you need all of these things. Don't throw this away. She said, well, I don't want to hold the bus driver up because I don't want him mad. I said, ma'am, you are fine. And she's like, no, don't worry about me. Don't worry about me. So I said, you keep all, you need it. So gave her a bag back because she was going to throw it all away. And she needed that. But it was hard for her to carry those things. So I saw that in her need, she had a walker, but she probably needed one of those ones that's got the basket in it. Hers was just a very basic walker that didn't have wheels on it. She needs one with the seat that flaps open. And she said that she spends a lot of time over in the South Park area, riding the bus and just hanging out over there. So she needs one of those. She needs a brand new fleece blanket, which that was probably going to eventually dry out. She needs a way to carry her things that she can also carry on the bus. So you know what? Now that I think about it, she needs one of those tall grocery carts with the wheels on it that she can pack all of her stuff in because she's got a walker. Her foot is messed up real bad and bandaged. I don't know how she hurt her foot. And she was a pretty woman too. She was pretty. And she was young, but I don't know what the issue was, but it is what it is. So Warren told her, when we come back, we're going to find you and I'm going to get you a brand new blanket. And she was like, really? He's like, I'm going to get you a brand new blanket. He said, where are you at most of the time? She said, if I'm not here, I'm over in the South Park area, which is a rich area for malls and people that live over there. So we're going to try to find her and try to get her something to make it easier. Hopefully she won't be on the walker anymore, but she needs help. And I hate that she's out there like that because there's nothing worse than a woman being homeless on the street because you have to stay hidden. You have to stay in incognito. You have to avoid the common places where all the guys are because a lot of people out there are mentally ill and they will overpower a woman and rape her. abuse her, beat her. So you have to be like I don't know, you have to be like a chameleon. You have to be incognito to survive. So anyway, so we saw that. I did jump in between a guy named Caesar and this white guy. Caesar tried to stab the white guy. When I say jump in between, I had to grab Caesar by the arm and say, hey, Caesar, no, don't do that. What's going on? Hey, come and help me. Come and help me, intercept. So, mama, no, I didn't jump between the two guys and the knife, if that's what you're thinking. But I had to stop that argument. There wasn't even an argument. Caesar suffers from mental illness as well. And he said he did 20 years in prison. And he was doing fine. He was out there drinking the 40. And then he was talking, he was cool and everything, and then he just flipped all of a sudden. It's like, whoa, but I was there with Scotty. Scotty was sitting in the car. I told Scotty to stay in the car because I was giving stuff out to a couple of ladies, and it was real touch and go. With Caesar, when I walked up, it was like he was like, I said, hey, anybody need anything? You need the toilet paper? You need a gallon of water? Um, do you need anything? And he was like, you got some J's? You got some J's? I said, I ain't got no J's. Well, I don't need nothing then. I don't need nothing. I said, well, good. You can stop talking to me. So I said, anybody else need anything? So Caesar said something to me, and I ended up cussing him out. It was funny because that's the way he was coming at me. I only cussed him out because how he was coming at me. So you one them kind, I get to come back with you. I got to get with you. Okay, get your wagon all together. So I went back at him. And then he was just standing there staring at me, and I was standing there staring at him. And I said, what? He's like, you just gonna keep on talking shit? I said, I'm from Charlotte all day long. Statesville Boulevard is where I grew up. I'm gonna die talking shit. He looked at me, I looked at him. He just busted out laughing. He's like, I like you. All right, cool. But now we got a bond. I don't know if it's for real, but you know what I'm saying. We understood each other. I'm from here. Don't do that. Don't do that. So anyway, then the guy kept looking over there at us. Of course he would, because we were grouped up talking, and the people he was talking to, they were gone. They left. So he wanted to join our conversation, but Caesar didn't want him to join our conversation. It was ugly. It turned ugly so fast. And I'm sure the alcohol didn't help. So I had to draw Caesar's attention away from cutting the guy, because he just pulled a knife out of his pocket. And that was the longest black blade ever seen in my life. It's like, whoa. So talking to him, and this lady was like, don't do that. That's my friend. That's my friend. Don't stab him. And he was like, that's gonna be your dead friend. But remember, Caesar just got out of prison. He, I don't know, keistering, I don't know. Used to cut and stabbing, I don't know. So I say, Caesar, I said, my shoulders hurt. Can you help me get this water out the trunk so I can give it to the man and the lady over there in the car that need some water? And he looked at me. I looked at him. He said, yeah, I'll help you. He just turned into somebody else. So we walked over to the car. He's like, I'll kill him. I said, Caesar, don't kill him. Just help me get the water because my shoulders hurt. Got him